Yeah, I think we can start now. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Cross-Border Startup Corporate Collaboration, Knowledge, Skills, and Strategies as part of our Startup Germany tour. My name is Dominik Stute. I'm responsible for the field of innovation, industry, and international networks at the Chamber of Industry and Commerce in Dortmund. I'm one of the main organizers of the Startup Tour, and I'm happy to welcome all of you to our webinar today. With our Startup Tour, we would like to introduce you to one of the most dynamic and attractive business locations in Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia. And in addition to that, we want to prepare you for a successful engagement here in our region. Therefore, we offer you an exciting webinar program consisting of 10 different topics over the next few weeks. And today is already our fourth webinar. That means that there are a lot of more webinars to come, and later on I can put you the link in the chat so that you can see all of the program. Our Startup Germany tour is organized by the Chambers of Industry and Commerce and NRW with the special commitment of the chambers in the ruhr area and Düsseldorf. And the tour is supported by some important partners like the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Industry, Climate Action and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, by NRW Global Business, by the NRW Bank, and by Ernst & Young. As Chambers and NRW, we are your central point of contact for many topics with which you can start your business in NRW, and we are at the same time your bridge to other institutions that can help you as well. And to give you just a brief overview about our services, I share my screen again. I have just one slide with the two most important topics for you and services we offer. So as Chambers, we give you individual consultation. So you can ask us everything you want, and maybe some important topics for you could be, we can give you advice on how to set up a company in Germany, because that it's not so easy as you might think of. So we can give you an overview about funding and financing your business. And if you are in contact with our companies, if you make some business with them, we can help you with the custom formalities or with the foreign trade legislation here in Germany. And the second thing, which is maybe much more important, is that we can give you access to our networks. As 16 chambers here in NRW, we have 1.2 million member companies. We are very strong contact to them, so we can just connect you with the companies, and yeah, maybe you can find new business partners with that. We have also a strong connection to our German chambers abroad. There are 93 different countries. We have chambers who are our bridge to the international markets and who can be your bridge as well. And we have an intensive cooperation with all the partners of our local startup ecosystem, like accelerators, investors, multipliers, and so on. And we are happy to give you access and connect you with them as well. So that are the things that we can offer. And as I said, we have a strong network, and Theodora, you are part of this strong network, and I'm really happy to welcome you as our speaker and expert for today. You are program director at the Start.up group, everything in purple now.
Yes, it will
And
be even more.
I'm really happy to hand over to you, and the stage is yours, and we are very excited to hear your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. First of all, good evening from Singapore. I'm currently here. Maybe you can see all the location of our company on the screen. First of all, thank you, Dominic, and I would like to share that the startup tour that NRV is organizing is actually quite a valuable initiative, and we have been lucky to work with companies who already been through the program, won some of the first places, and largely benefited from the services. So I really strongly encourage you to be more proactive and work with the team. I will just share my screen at the moment. Yeah, give me a second. So the topic for today is actually the cross-border corporate collaboration and how you can understand better what is the German landscape, what is the key trends for the collaboration between corporates and startups, what are the key industry trends you can leverage at the moment, what is the government push can probably enable you to fast track your experience when working with corporates in the German market. And last but not least, what are some of the challenges and tips you can have in mind when you're engaging and planning collaboration with corporates in Germany? A little bit background for myself. My name is Theodora. I'm based currently in Singapore, and my experience is working with international startups and startups across the different stages of their journey for the last 15 years. I also have a background in startup corporate collaboration. I've been working with corporates from across the world to connect them with local and international startups, and I'm very honored to be able to share my experience here with you. A little bit about our company. Our company name is Start.up Group. Formerly, we were called German Entrepreneurship. Just before a couple of months, we went to this major rebranding just to reflect our company growth, and we call ourselves just the Startup Journey. Our company is a startup innovation leader for the last couple of years. I mean, we founded in 2008, and since then, we've been supporting startups at various stages, from fundraising to market expansions and to later stage connections. We've been working with corporate startups, governments across the world, and currently we operate on 18 markets, where of course our major launchpad is in Germany, and the largest team member size is in Germany. I'm currently in Singapore, and I'm supporting companies in their market expansion to Germany. So I have a lot of experience with working international companies, trying to penetrate the German market. So I'll be able to also share with you how to say the foreign point of view of working with the German corporates. As I just mentioned, we work with startups. We support them from fundraising to market expansion. We work with corporation. We run a couple of corporate innovation programs within Germany and also as well cross-border innovation companies. And we work with governments across the globe. Yearly, we work with, we say we screen more than 8,000 startups, and you can see the number of companies we've been working with, and some of them are prominent unicorns from Germany. We have startups from Singapore, from Latin America, from Korea, from Japan. So I can share a lot of experience from different cultures and how to navigate through the German market. We run corporate innovation programs for major corporate industry leaders in Germany, and as well as we work with governments across the world to implement on behalf of them scaling programs for startups into different locations. Going back to straight to the topic, I would like to start with a little bit of overview about the German corporate innovation ecosystem. Of course, it's not a surprise the large names and big names and logos you see here, but Germany is actually interesting. You need to know that is the #1 in patent registrations in Europe. What it translates to is there is really a lot of push for innovation, and the startups can not only share their technology but also learn and license a lot of technologies from Germany. And interestingly, you can see the spending, and I will go in further details later in the presentation about activities of large corporates and small corporations in Germany on innovation and how gradually they're increasing, especially in the last 2 years post-COVID. It's important to know that we also have the world-renowned research institution von Fraunhofer and the German Research Artificial Center, as well as important centers for innovation and excellence like the Unternehmertum and the Technical University Alliance. It's important to think when you are thinking about entering a new market, how you can leverage the different stakeholder ecosystem players important in the innovation ecosystem, because quite often there are multi-players, I would say collaborations which are very strong and have very high potential, and it's not only working directly with corporates, but working directly with research institution and with support centers like NRV1. It's actually a very valuable approach for you. Let's look into the industries probably you can consider and might be providing great opportunities for you at the moment. Traditionally in Germany, we have these very strong sectors like manufacturing, being the largest industrial producer in Europe. Healthcare, which is quite attractive market, as we see, especially from Asia, like newcomers in the market, because digital health is a very hot topic, and is providing great opportunities for the German market. Insurtech is certainly an area which might be considered as very attractive, because it's the second reinsurance market in the world, as well as the fintech and the e-commerce sectors. Of course, we are not limited only to these areas, but these might be some of the more interesting at the moment, which are really attracting a lot of new and open for innovation. I want to look into the, I would say, top-down approach and push for new technology, which are kind of dictating the demand from the corporates and from the industry. So there is the pan-European digitalization push, which is largely connected to the Climate Tech Act. And this is requiring from a lot of enterprises, from all enterprises actually, to introduce new solutions, how to streamline their transportation, digital solution, reduce power, and of course, carbon emissions. So a lot of companies now are really heavily looking into these solutions, which startups can benefit from. Another interesting and act which is dictating a lot of trends at the moment when it comes to demand of new technology, this is the Supply Chain Act. And this is imposing companies to really work on the transparency of their supply chain. Not only transparency and ensuring the human rights and environmental valuations are not broken. So this allows really to think about blockchain technologies, process optimization technology that can be applied, and it's really high on demand. I mentioned for the hospital and for the digital health opportunities at the moment in Singapore, and it's largely dictated by the Hospital Future Act, which provide great funding opportunities for hospitals and healthcare providers to introduce new digital solutions, not only robotics, but also software solutions to improve the patient experience, improve the experience of the healthcare providers, and as well to provide transparency and long-term learning experience. As a startup, it's quite important when you enter to a new market to understand the demand and how to always tailor your solution to match the current, not only macroeconomical, but also industrial trends and needs. When we talk about technologies which might be high on demand and have a potential future growth, certainly we have to talk about artificial intelligence. I know it's very broadly, but at the moment, a lot of corporates are looking for such solutions because, of course, they don't have most of the time the internal talent to develop such solution, and it's a bit far away from their core competency. And this is an area which is really the most interesting at the moment. Sustainability, of course, dictated from the ESG regulatory requirements, which are coming as mandatory now at the moment, and shift towards sustainable economy. So you can see a lot of manufacturing companies who are looking for sustainable packaging solutions, for ways to reduce their power consumption, for example, and recycling technologies, power management. So it's providing really great opportunity. Robotics is projected to grow, and Germany is a great place to venture with robotics technology and test your new robotics technology with industry partners. As Germany is quite strong in the hardware side of manufacturing such solution, there is still a lot of room for improvement when it comes to the software optimization of robotics solutions. It's important to understand for the German market is that Germany is divided to 12 digital hubs, which aim to create an excellence and be the center for specific industry and connect corporate startups R&D center. Of course, they're not explicitly targeting those areas, but certainly there is an excellence and a lot of knowledge and connections cluster into these particular regions. as these big logos speak, of course, these are the one of the largest players in the German market. And I want to deep dive a little bit more into the collaboration models, the investment statistics, and examples for corporate startup partnering models they're using at the moment. And interesting statistics for the German market is that if you look into these large corporates, they have very successfully ventured into investment in startups with the highest level in Europe, 28% VC money raised from corporates as LPs, and also co-investment. Quite often corporates are co-investing to mitigate the risk with VCs, because VCs usually tend to have a better understanding of how to profile companies, how to do diligence, but this really demonstrates openness and the experience of German corporates to work with startups and invest in startups. Something very unique for Germany, which probably you are aware, and probably this was shared with you in previous webinars, but Germany has I think probably is the statistic is changing now, but they have 1,700 Mittelstand or family-owned businesses, and they're considered as a backbone of the German economy. These large SMEs or family-owned businesses, they have their roots usually in family-owned businesses. So this really is defining the difference in the culture of engaging some companies, the decision making, and I'm going to deep dive into this one because I believe this will be a quite interesting target group for you, which is quite open for innovation. There's a lot of support system also for design for Mittelstand on how to innovate and how to engage startups. So this is very unique opportunity for you to explore for the German market. This is of course not it's not complete map of the distribution of the German Mittelstand in the region. You can see quite a number of very large companies that you probably are familiar, which are located in the NRV region, and this is a great opportunity for you to explore when you're on the ground and when you want connections with the companies. If you look at some of them, they might not look like family-owned businesses for you, but actually this is interesting that this still started as a family-owned business and still defining that culture. Let's look into the interesting statistics actually this is from Boston Consulting Group for 2023. The ranking of the most innovative companies for 2023. So we have here from 9 to 50, and you can see the number of German corporates listed here and made it to the top, which is really speaks for how attractive they are. Of course, different corporates, they have different resources to innovate and to engage companies. And this really is translated into the number of success stories they have and partners engaged. Looking into the numbers, you can see Siemens is hitting the number one with 453 number of engaged startups. And Siemens has really traditionally very well established a startup collaboration tools, structures, and Daimler, including Mercedes here, BMW, automotive is very, very strong sector in the German market. I just want to mention here, this is a report, a quite interesting report. You probably will be interested to explore. It's called the Impact of Venture Clienting, just published from Glassdoor, and actually our company Start.up Group is also contributed to the couple of the chapters. The report is really showing the latest state of venture clienting in Germany, and interesting insight and examples of innovation arms and tools used by this large corporation in creating successful partnership. Looking into the map, it's also statistic from the report, comparing like Germany with the rest of Europe. Interestingly, you can see that, of course, the very high number of companies engaged. Here we have a couple of groups, startups which are exporting from Europe, startups which are imported from Europe, and Germany domestic relationships. Of course, German domestic relationship, meaning corporate and startups, have the largest number here. And it's quite normal that the corporate would prefer to work with a local company, maybe reducing a little bit the risk of cultural differences, and being able to monitor the company and understand how they work. And geographical proximity certainly make a difference. But you can see also that the number of startups which are export to Europe is increasing. Is that cross-border open innovation is becoming more accessible, more comfortable for large corporates for sure, but actually also for small and medium-sized enterprise and Mittelstands. And I can give you some examples. So it's the right time, it's the right place, which is providing quite a lot of opportunities for you to collaborate in the German market. So let's look into the areas and the ways of corporates and the innovation vehicles they use to work with companies. It's important to understand these collaboration models, not only to align your expectation, to know what the company and how much the corporate can invest in this partnership, but also to project the future of such a partnership. DAX listed companies or companies in the DAX region, they have the highest number of average on using unique vehicles or tools to work with companies. And it's not a surprise because, of course, the larger the corporate is, the more resources they have to experiment with, let's say, incubators, accelerators, the whole spectrum from hackathons to corporate innovation funds, where smaller companies are not that adventurous and don't have that much resources. That's A. Second, they have the push also for disruption from their investors to explore new markets, to explore new technologies and products. They can diversify their portfolio, optimize the delivery. I think this is also one very, very great trend showing the Germany attractiveness for collaborations with corporates. Now let's look into the some of the collaboration models used for corporates to engage startups, and how you can benefit and what to expect from each one of them. Quite often we startups encounter informal collaboration, and this is usually by individuals, company representative, which are attending events, engaging startups. It's important to know that these kind of engagement maybe just for knowledge gathering, maybe just for exploring possible POC, but not necessary. They have this structure behind that can provide you visibility. That said, attending corporate innovation events, attending large events which provide you networking opportunities like the one that NRW is going to organize for you is a great way to identify a local champion, internal champions. Internal champions are the ones that usually have the buy-in and the power to drive a project with a startup inside the company. They usually have the visibility, the understanding of technology trends. So finding your key opinion leader or internal champion is extremely important. When it comes to more structured ways of working with companies, here I'm not going to really cover the traditional hackathons, accelerators, and incubators, which, if you think historically, they are having less and less they're less and less popular in the corporate world, because the more mature the experience and the more mature the corporates and in working with startups, they're really focusing on more effective ways of working with companies. In the corporate venturing building model, it's important to understand that this is used to develop new promising business idea for the corporate, and they use internal resources from the company, human resources, R&D experts or product development experts or business development experts to match them with the entrepreneurial experience coming from the startups. Usually the result is a spin-off, and the model where you can expect from such collaboration is a profit sharing model. Of course, this can use to investment from the corporate. That all these models, of course, they can blend and they can be used together. Looking into the venture capital model, while it's been available and existing in the US market, for example, for quite a lot of time, from what I read recently, is like for the last 20 years, it's gaining a lot of traction in Germany. And I previously showed in the slides the activities of the corporate investment fund in Germany. It's really, really high, the highest in Europe. And what is the objective of this one is to have the corporate to get a minority stake in the company. Usually when the corporates invest in startups is when they see they can also increase their value. For example, from our experience in Start.up Group, when we connected corporates and startups for POC opportunity, sometimes they see the value beyond the, let's say, product development, joint product development, and they see if they can help to bring this product to a larger customer base and increase the valuation of the startup. They start putting money in the company and stage it in different investment rounds. And we have a very successful experience also working with family-owned business in Mittelstands in Germany, which are quite interested in also investing and having skin in the game in the company. A new, I would say, a new term which I believe originated largely from Germany, venture clienting or venture partnering, is becoming a very preferred model for collaboration with companies where the startup is used, the collaboration is used to increase productivity, let's say, for example, improve process flow or improve internal communication flow, for example, and the other, I would say, large variation could be for product development. This is supply service relationship is very straightforward, and it's gaining actually a lot of popularity in Germany because it's a very safe way to work with companies. So I would like to focus here on two infographics and how to use and how to understand the collaboration models and what to expect. Because in the early stage, in the early days of corporate startup collaboration, was quite a lot of disappointment coming, let's say, when you have an incubator or an accelerator or just a hackathon, why these not always translate into a customer relationship. It's really depending on the understanding the startup side and the corporate side, the resources they're putting in each one of these innovation vehicles. In the previous slides, I show you that actually German corporates are using one or two or more innovation vehicles, and more interesting is that they're evolving. For example, let's say Allianz, they started with an accelerator and then it's later transformed into a venture fund because they get a very good, I would say, base of companies. They already are connected and they really wanted to focus more on the long-term commitment. So looking into this diagram, if you think about the limited resources and commitment by the startup match with limited resources and input from the corporate, we're talking about competitions, about free tools, about co-working spaces. But when it comes to the substantial resources and commitment from startups, it's the product co-development. Usually the startup will require more resources to put here and should go through procurement, which might be a bit difficult at some stages, and it's really depending on the maturity of the company. When it comes to the CVCs, obviously they require a lot of commitment both from the startups and the corporation. So this is one of the dimensions when it comes to understanding the startup collaboration models. When you're approaching a corporate, it's also to understand the market readiness and the stage of the company from the lens of the corporate. So when a corporate is looking for, let's say, a solution which is very new on the market, and we have a lot of newcomers, early to mid-stage companies, usually this is the technology bets. In the earlier days of AI technologies, we have a lot of corporates who started looking into investing or just putting into accelerator. So it's just to keep an eye on these technologies and see which one will fly, not necessarily commitment because the market is not ready. When the market is ready, we talk about the development bets. So it's about product development, meaning that's higher acceptance, and the target audience will be early to mid-stage companies. And respectively, when you think about the other spectrum, so late-stage company and readiness, we talk about CVC, so the companies would like to really capture the moment. and respectively the demand for go-to-market partnership. So when you speak to a corporate, and it's very important to do also your due diligence, and I'm going to go in further details in the next part of the presentation. It's really important to understand where are you in the spectrum at the moment. I mean, of course, there's some variations here, but understanding the market, are you a newcomer? Is it a new market? What are the challenges and what you can expect, and what will be the corporate lens looking at your company and the product and the market trends. Of course, it's needless to say what are the benefits of working with the corporates. I'm not going to spend much time here, but it's important that when we look to collaboration with the corporate, to evaluate the whole opportunity they can provide you, and do your due diligence to actually capture and understand this opportunity, because the access to distribution channels is really important at one point for the company growth and expansion. So you can look into a corporate as a distributor on the market, and it will require different forms of collaboration as well as access to customers. It's always a trade-off, and it's very important to have the whole picture of all the benefits that the particular partnership can bring to the table. Of course, that's the good sides, but we need to be prepared for also the challenges and the potential risk associated with such collaboration. Collaborations, corporates obviously don't want to do mistakes, and this is what startups are used to, and this leads me to actually the main reason identified from a survey from Boston Consulting Group for the companies and startups corporates and startup collaborating in the tax region, that actually the disappointment from the collaboration is quite close to the percentage of the companies which are very happy from the partnership. And the key challenge or the key issue, as 3 words could be, is the cultural difference. And the cultural difference translates into really like geographical and local cultural way of doing, nuances of doing business, to really how we communicate, how the startup communicate with the corporate, how frequent they communicate, how they read their messages, expectation misalignments, risk management, the ways startups and corporates approach risk, split, and flexibility. You can guess which one is more prominent for the startups, and integration challenges. I'm going to deep dive in each one of them with giving you some background and questions and maybe tips how to mitigate this risk and to have a better informed choice when you're working with companies. Like, I wanted to show you this risk associated with the collaboration from the startup and from the corporate perspective, because it's important for the startup in the communication with the corporate to try to mitigate and create more trust and comfort within the corporate, but also for the startup to think what are some of the areas they may cause probably slow down in their business, or even I mentioned this later, but there is a term which was been introduced in the last couple of years called death by pilot. What it translates to is that when a startup is unable to prioritize collaboration, because especially in early days of startup development, of course, this is the holy grail. Let's work with the corporate, so we get the branding, we get the logos on our slides. But what is important to know is that it's sometimes, probably most of the founders here experience that, is that when you decide to work on a project with a corporate, you allocate a lot of resources, internal resources, human resources, time, which is probably the most important asset at that point. And this leads to sometimes quite often delayed projects, of course, speed of execution. Your resources might not be properly allocated. Maybe it could be another opportunity which is more attractive in future, not knowing what will happen after its pilot. Is it going to stay at pilot stage and be dead by pilot, and is it just a very exciting branding experience? for the corporate, or this is something which really has a potential to bring to the next stage of collaboration model, like venture build or corporate investment. So these are very, very important areas. And for example, it's something is that need to be really considered from early collaboration conversation is this exclusive collaboration? Is it allowing you certain level of freedom? For the corporates, of course, the quite often they if you think about why there are a lot of changes into the preferred vehicles or innovation arms or ways to engage startups, is that there was a lot of certain level of frustration between the business units and the innovation departments, let's say, because at the beginning, and that's why is the reason why innovation departments were created internally in corporates, is just to make sure that they can translate the differences, the communication into their language, and decrease the frustration, because employees, end of the day, they have their KPIs and daily job, and innovation is on top of their duties, I would say so, unless they're one of the internal champions who are really endorsing and innovation. So they quite often corporates are quite careful when they select partners for partnership, because startups for partnership, because they want to make sure that they can engage the business units, and that the innovation should go to reality. So it will always engage manufacturing for R&D center, and so on and so forth. Maturity misalignments, and in the previous slide, I showed you the diagram, and expectation. The expectation of the corporate from the startup really should be based on the startup maturity, because the startup may not be able to provide and follow them for larger scale project, and to qualify for procurement, if you want to say. Couple of questions that might be helpful for you in this kind of due diligence projects is to understand if the corporate has a clear mandate for collaboration, and what is the objective. Do they have selected collaboration models? How much money they have? And I'll go into details in each one of these one. If they have a reason to collaborate, actually is very important. Quite often at the beginning of this collaboration, there were like branding experiences. For example, you can see there were even like corporate innovation accelerators, which been funding from the marketing departments and budgets, and clearly the major focus here is to create more awareness, which is nothing bad, but it's good to understand what is the motivation and the resources behind, as well as legal constraints. I'm going to deep dive in each of them and share a little bit more insights. But first of all, let's talk about the cultural differences and the profile, and I think this could be quite interesting for you. I mentioned about Mittelstand and how important they are, and you see how many great companies are in, for example, in the NRW region. But it's very important to understand the nature and the thinking of the Mittelstand companies, because they have plus and minuses, of course, but I just really want to like highlight the pluses of working with such companies who are really open for collaboration. Decision-making process. Obviously, a smaller company, yes, hierarchical levels, less decision-making levels, is speeding up the collaboration decision. And from our experience, actually, even working with international startups, though probably is leading me to the second point here with the cultural alignment. Actually, they're quite open and very keen to work with international startups. The startup group, we have a couple of great success stories and example for this one. The second one is the cultural alignment. So as a family-owned business, these are corporates which have very strong value. They value trust, they value reliability, long-term relationship, not only with their customer suppliers, and extended network. So it's one way to something to bear in mind in your communication with such entities, that to align with their values, maybe read through their website, understand their supplier network, and try to speak into their language. Market access. Interestingly, so these companies are deeply rooted in strong market presence in a couple of companies neighboring Germany. For example, let's say if you take they have clusters of subsidiaries and other family-owned businesses surrounding them, like, for example, between Germany and Switzerland, quite a lot a place there. So when you start working with one of these Mittelstands or family-owned companies, you may get an access to a larger pool of networks and potential customers. And because it's like close club, and the trust level is quite important. Once you get a good experience and good successful partnership with one of them, you're highly likely to get referred and to be pushed to along the supply chain or within the network. Flexibility in partnership. Yes, of course, the Mittelstand, this is they have probably less established innovation vehicles, but they're more open also for exploring different joint ventures. And we have also an experience with one company here from Singapore, which we introduced to Mittelstand from Germany into distribution of plastics, for example. They started with a joint product development, and very quickly they moved to investment, despite they didn't have quite long experience in investing in companies. And the whole decision-making process was quite fast and impressive. Another area is the long-term perspective. Again, thinking from the background, family-rooted companies, the engagement usually looked into perspective, and the commitment from the Mittelstand to bring future partnership is quite high. They're very specialized. You probably haven't heard for some of them, but they have really dominant players on the market, starting from even suppliers of sensors to particular pumps or to medical equipment. So they can bring a lot of market insights and industry-specific knowledge. So it's a great partner to work. And lastly, of course, the access to funding is a very important value proposition here. So certainly this is a very, very attractive, a unique group of companies which can be found in Germany, looking extensively for solutions. Again, carbon footprint monitoring, recycling technologies. These are areas which all these companies need to also implement as standards, as technologies for monitoring. So it's providing a great opportunity for you to work with them. Let's focus now for the next couple of minutes on what is important to clarify in your conversations with the corporates. Usually the corporate innovation units, digital innovation units, they're the one who will gather this information before they reach out to startups or connect with startups, or have the full or innovation consulting company or investment managers and regional departments. They can probably help you with this background information, but it's always good not to forget to ask, what is the budgets behind? What is the history of the particular corporate working with startups? Who they work with? What can happen? What are the limits? What are the boundaries? And the clearer the corporate is on the collaboration, you know what to expect and how far your partnership can go. It's important also to evaluate in conversations what is the internal resources that the corporate can bring. What is the technical equipment, the data, the support, the sales support? It's the whole package of benefits of working with startups. I put here is the corporate AI ready. AI is a topic, is a buzzword, is a necessity, and of course a lot of corporations would like to introduce AI technology, but are they AI ready? What it translates to is the data AI ready, is just clean data, can they use and integrate such solution? So it brings me back again to the point of this forming misalignments, because when you start a collaboration, let's say to introduce a new AI technology to monitor the predictive maintenance of machinery, for example, and later in the collaboration, you realize that the data is scattered, it's not harmonized, and it's a lot of pre-work before you even hit to the AI implementation. So these are areas that it's advisable to address later in the conversation. I mentioned the situation of dead by pilots, but try to get a deeper understanding and prioritize the opportunities you're looking at. when you scope the collaboration with the company, with the corporate, it's very important also to ask question about different stages. Are we starting with the POC stage? Are we starting with POV, and how it's going to evolve? Because there are different tools, there are different purchase order um, processes that you have to bear in mind in later stage. And it's quite important to understand the different stages. Also, KPIs for success. What is success? Sometimes success would be considered learning from the POC. Let's say that the model didn't work. It's a KPI. If it's something that is very new for the company, they want to test what will be success for you. Is it just success could be an effect on the mindset of the companies, but is it beneficial for you? Yes, maybe if it's you're backed also with receiving in a fund in exchange market knowledge, any assets, customer contacts, or market validation. And it's you have a lot of like usually the innovation consultants, the digital innovation department can help you with these areas of scoping your KPIs. Um, it's something which quite often is overlooked is what will happen after the POC. What is the process and what will happen and what can be do? Because you may agree, because they also like, here is one good moment probably to mention that there are a lot of local investment grants, bilateral between countries, and on European level, which support POCs to offset the risk and the cost for the POC, for the corporate and the startup. Quite often startups jump into, okay, let's do a POC, which probably is not going to bring us much money, maybe cover a portion of the cost, but what will happen after? So you can think and understand better the grant opportunities from, let's say, the region, the corporates like NRW, or to even look into what will be after the problem. Is it the revenue sharing model? Is it distribution? Is it the license agreement? What is the market and potential we can get? And what is the overall customer lifetime value here you can get? So having this clarity can help you to avoid probably putting your resources into maybe not that high potential or very high potential opportunity. Or maybe you can decide to start with a smaller, less paid, lower paid pilot, but then seeing that the company can bring to you distribution channels or customer base. So interesting is something that it's important to know what is the IP shared model. If you're building together a solution with the corporate, of course, they're bringing on the table a lot of technologies, insights, and what would be the IP revenue shared model. These are sometimes topics which don't often come in the first conversation, and startups are overlooking into this and rushing through the whole process. But you have to understand how to define the IP or the assets, and what will be the front IP, what will be the background IP, and how we are going to collaborate on that. Because corporates are quite sensitive, and it's good to know this in advance. Compatibility and integration requirements. This is maybe a bit too technical, but something you need to certainly understand, because let's say if you're depending on who you're engaging, if the innovation manager, for example, is the innovation manager aware of the integration requirements, because when it comes to implementation, it can be some roadblocks. Legal requirements. Germany, Europe in general, very sensitive when it comes to data privacy and server locations. Is it feasible for the startups to deliver this? Can they fit the requirements? And last but not least, how much freedom the corporate is willing to give to the startups. Is it exclusive? Of course, the exclusivity comes with more long-term opportunities for the startup, and it's maybe more attractive for later stage companies, but it's very important to understand this from a collaboration model. So I think that I use mostly my time. So what I wanted to really just recap here, that it's really important to when you look into going to a new market and how to engage into cross-border open innovation relationship. Of course, there's certain factors you need to consider from to mitigate the risk of the geographical proximity, not being in the same geography, and to understand that the trust, the branding, the positioning, it's quite important, but also to understand where the key players are located in Germany, what are the different types of corporate innovation players you can leverage, what is their risk appetite, what is their financial resources, and not to miss any group of potential customers, and to explore them more, and of course to do, last but not least, the extensive due diligence on your partner. Thank you. Dominic, maybe we can...
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. Great presentation. It was very valuable for our viewers, I'm pretty sure. And I think there's one first question. So, is it possible to join the incubator or an incubator program from Egypt as an online or as online joining?
I believe so, and you're providing such opportunities. So when it comes to so there are different types of incubators program, and I believe the online incubator programs are uh, quite popular, especially after COVID. There is no need to be, and unless it's involving really co-development and requiring the startup to be into particular premises for technical co-development. Let's say Bosch, for example, they have the startup harbor, and it's really like an area that companies can go and work there and use the facilities. But online joining, yes, certainly, and probably you need to also explore like online programs like what the NLB is now offering. It's great to really help you to map the players in the market, and they connect you with the right players.
There are many more questions. So what is the view of VCs or investors when it comes to participation of universities on the cap table of spin-offs, and how does this affect future collaborations?
Okay. I mean, I personally work with quite a number of spin-offs, which are exploring currently and expanding to the German markets. Let's go back to, you need to look into the shareholding, the shared IP, and how the IP is distributed between the university and the spin-off, because of course investors are investing into an assets. So it's really depending on the cap table and how the cap table and how the IP is distributed between the university and the entity. Of course, if the entity holds majority of the IP rights or long-term license agreements, this is going to define the VC interest. It's depending where is the IP, in the short answer. Where is your IP? Is it in the company? It's partially owned by the university. Of course, working with, like having a university as a backer is really creating a lot of value.
Great, thank you. So a question to both of us, I think, because here's someone asking if you can find the presentation and the recording online. So the recording you will find online on our website of the Startup Germany tour afterwards. And can we send your presentation to our participants, Theodora?
Right. Yes, of
Okay,
course.
and we send it out within the next days. When working with a corporate, do we need to apply to the paragraph 87, what's Workers' Council laws, as they work differently in our home country? German law. It's an expert on German law. Can you answer that?
I am afraid no, but if... Oh, this is maybe when it comes to where the stuff is located from remote working. Sorry, I am really not aware. we can take this, we can research on that one, I guess. Also, you have the legal advisors within Dominic. I think this is something they can certainly help you with.
just write me a mail. Put my email address here in the chat.
Yeah, but these are actually quite a valid question and important when it comes to when you craft your collaboration with the corporate. You have to think about like how you're going to maintain service. Do you need to hire people on the ground? So these are quite important topics when you should address, and Dominic organization can certainly help you, because end of the day, if you finish a pilot and if you're ready to do a commercial agreement, you need to maintain and execute on this one. So you may require to register a company. What will be the fastest way? What will be the most practical way? Where to find additional talent? Quite often, we had experiences when you connect corporate and a startup, and they need to hire even local talent. Then again, I believe, Dominic, you can help with connecting with university, with exchange programs, but really it's the partnership could be a start. And everything evolves around the partnership, because you want to set up a company when you're closer to your clients, and then utilize the local grants and support, utilize the local talent.
Yeah, I can totally agree on that, and we are really happy to help everyone here in our chat or in our webinar with partnerships and so on, and also with legal questions. So another question: a new startup that provides AI-based supply chain solutions, how can be eligible to be a service provider? First in the form of pilot partnership, then in the next step, get prepared for CVC or CVB.
Okay. I mean, that it's really depending on the pilot and the collaboration model and instrument and innovation vehicles the corporate is having. So companies like BSH, the Bosch Siemens Home Appliance, for example, they have also innovation arm, or Bosch itself, or Miele, or I mean, it's from the region. So what they do is they have this kind of fast track for piloting. So you can certainly surpass some of the requirements for pilot partnership and don't go through the provider procurement. So they have, let's say, to a certain for pilots up to certain amount, say 20,000. Really, I'm just throwing a number at the moment because really depending on the company, they have more relaxed ways to fast track collaboration, and as well as also to bring this forward to a next level with investment. So qualifying as a provider, unless you require certain certification. For example, I'll just give you another example from healthcare. Some healthcare providers, let's say hospitals or pharma companies, they can't work with not certified CE mark or MDR's certified solution. So even if they want to test, it's because the certification requirements, safety requirements, they can't use it. But really depending on the innovation arm, on the ways you engage in the corporate, unless it's something critical when it comes to certification, it shouldn't be an issue to qualify. And they're quite aware that a startup, a newly established startup or new provider cannot really qualify with the standard procurement requirements. They require to be existing provider in the market, to have certain turnover, and so certainly innovation unit departments, digital departments can help you with that. And if you need any legal advice on certification requirements, especially now when it comes to, let's say, power management, ESG monitoring, there's certain certifications which may not be that scary. And you just need someone to advise you how to navigate them.
Great. So I think there are no more questions and we're running out of time because 1 minute to go. So Fyodora, thank you very much for this great webinars, for your answers. It was really cool. Oh no, then I just want to say, okay. Yeah, just some words of thanks to us in the Q&A section. I thought that there was maybe last question. So big thanks to you. It was a great webinar, very valuable. And it's great that you are a partner of our tour. And for our viewers, thank you for joining us. I wish all of you in all the time zones a good day, good evening, good night. For you, Theodora, good night, and see you at our next webinars. Thanks for joining and goodbye.